Welcome back to Right Along Politics with Corner Cutter. Today we're going to change things up a little bit, only a little bit. We're still going to be listening to debates, but this time we're going to go ahead and listen to Parkergetajob. So let's go ahead and tune in.
Value our economy to have immigrants here.
Wrong.
Immigrants benefit us in almost every measurable way.
They make us
Okay,
90
so when
fucking
they
almost
work
$100
here,
billion
right? When
a
they
year.
work here,
Yeah.
They sending money home. They
Yeah.
sending money home. Your
Yeah.
country is losing the value there because
Well,
you
we
don't know
gain
how
more
to-
value. We gain way more value. So one thing
How
that
we
you have
gaining
to
way more
watch.
value?
One thing that you have to consider is that immigrants, when they come to this country, they increase the productive capacity of our economy and services created. They increase the demand within our economy, which creates more jobs within our economy. Right? That is very, very beneficial to the structure of our economy. And because immigrants work at a higher percentage than natural-born U.S. citizens, they actually provide more into the system and reduce our deficit. Actually, immigrants over the past 30 years, according to the Cato Institute, have reduced the deficit by $14.5 trillion. According to a National Bureau of Economic Research.
You not hearing the stats.
He just gave a reference to, he just let you know according to the Cato Institute. So if you're a smart person, you could get on Google right now, look up what he's talking about,
There's a study from the National Bureau of
that he's
Economic
right.
Research that indicates over the past 30 years that there's actually been a slight increase of wages for natural-born U.S. citizens. A slight increase in wages. So the whole argument that people make of like, oh, immigration decreases wages. Well, I don't see any evidence supporting that. You might be able to say specifically undocumented immigrants because they specifically are going to get below market wages because they're under the threat of mass deportation. They might accept lower wages and that could drive down wages in this country. And you would be right to some extent, but the way to address that isn't by deporting them. The way to address that is by providing them a legal pathway to this country.
Exactly.
Right? Because that would then get them to accept market wages.
But then, guess what you do to your citizens? You disenfranchise them.
No, you
Because
don't.
It doesn't
guess what?
disenfranchise them.
How?
Yes, it does. Because
No, it
you
doesn't.
have,
It's
you have a marginalized group that will actually come in this country and do work for cheap. I work for a company that shot pools. Because people don't know about certain jobs, they didn't get them. They would send B1 visas or so, I think, I'm probably saying the wrong visa, to have people come from Venezuela, Guatemala, Mexico, and all this to do these jobs. And these people are not natural citizens. They send that money home. They work 6 months here, and then they go home.
Oh, you're talking about people under work visas, and that specifically will temporarily stay here. I'm talking about people who are legally immigrating to our country, who are going to stay here in the long run.
That's what you believe. You believe they're immigrating here. They're not.
They are.
They're
They
not.
are.
They're sending
Okay,
money
so
They
home.
are, because
I mean,
the
the issue
conditions
that-
in their country are so much
Your
worse
guys'
than they
issue is
are
with
here.
undocumented immigrants in the country who are staying here.
They're not staying here. And I'm trusting. How can you stay here when you don't even have citizenship here?
So they're a tourist.
That's what you're saying. I'm not saying they're a tourist. I'm saying they're here illegally working, taking funds away. I'm from Miami. I should know.
Okay. So
It's
then
sad
why don't we
thing.
provide them a
And trust
legal
me, what they're
pathway?
doing to the economy down there, trust me. They're part of the reason the rent.
Okay, how about
hike is
this?
up in
How about
Miami.
this? So how about this? We make it give them a legal process. We ensure that it's legalized, and then they pay taxes into the system, and that ensures that we have more tax revenue overall for our society.
That's what y'all always go to, the tax revenue. And no one, that founded statement, no one knows if it's true.
Why do we go to tax
What are
revenue?
you
Because we have a
talking about?
budget
Our
and we have
taxes
needs in
go
a
into the
society.
federal
Like,
government.
that's
So
the
if you
reason.
make
We got a
them,
deficit.
if
So
you
if
give
they
them a
was paying all
pathway to
these
citizenship,
billions in taxes,
then their
why do we
taxes
have
are
a
going to
deficit?
the federal government, even
Because of
more
the
than
fact
they
that we're not
already
getting enough
are.
in taxes in order to be able to account for our spending.
But these immigrants are paying billions in taxes. It's just
Yeah, they do.
not
Over $100
normal.
billion in taxes.
Yup.
Undocumented immigrants paid in 2022.
$100 billion, and we
Yeah.
$1 trillion in debt. So all this that they bring to the
Yeah, but do you know
economy
that immigrants, again, over the past 30 years, have decreased the deficit by $14.5 trillion? That's immigration. That's just immigrants.
I don't believe
And the
that.
more
I don't
immigration that we
believe
have, the more that it will reduce the deficit. You say you don't agree. Look at the Cato
I
Institute
don't.
study then. Look it up. Look
I
up
don't.
Cato Institute, 14.5 trillion
But
immigrants.
you got to realize,
There you go.
you're giving
He's
us these
referenced
same
it
numbers. The
twice
same people
now.
you talking about it hate.
All you got to
It's the
do,
government.
conservatives,
Yeah, this is a
Google that
libertarian
shit.
source.
If it's Trump or not.
The
When
Cato Institute is a
Obama-
libertarian source.
Okay, what platform was you on when Obama was deporting people?
I disagree with like deporting individuals who have not committed violent crimes and bad crimes, but Obama did use due process to a greater extent and deported less people on a yearly average than Trump has.
Where were you when Joe Biden members were walking around in facility with kids in cages? Where were you protesting then? And don't say it because I have an image in my phone that'll prove it.
Yeah, so you know that I like criticize immigration policy on behalf of Democrats. You know that, right?
Because both of them.
I don't know why you're acting like I don't criticize Democrats on their immigration policy. How many times a day? How many times a day do I say that I disagree with Democrats' immigration policy, but I just think it's preferable to Republicans?
Yeah, you speak on the Democrats when they came up with this welfare system that disenfranchised black communities. When they
I don't think what welfare? What welfare specifically?
Shoot, they stole the WIC program. They gave government assistance to black women. And
you think Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and food stamps? Do you think that's disenfranchised the black community?
I'm talking about the government assistance, checks, food stamps, welfare, stuff like that. They put in the black community. That's what I'm talking about.
You say that's disenfranchised people. No, it's built people up, right, and giving them more opportunity.
Welfare has built people up.
You're damn right it does.
Where?
What are you talking about? Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, income security programs, unemployment insurance.
And yes, I work a regular 9 to 5 job.
We can reference
too.
like housing credits. Like there's so many different things, right, that have been beneficial towards uplifting people. Just because there's been some aspects of social services. Let me please finish. Let me please finish. So just because there have been some certain policies that you would disagree with does not mean that you can refer to all of social welfare that way. That is dishonest.
Exactly.
Incredibly dishonest. Can you even give me the specific like social welfare that you disagree with?
No. Because he's a generalizer.
All that. Any
food stamps. Wait. So let me clarify. You know that food stamps. I'm sorry, but I have to clarify this. I'm sorry, but I have to clarify this. Food stamps provide free school lunch and breakfast for children in schools. And when the Republicans cut children off of that, actually 420,000 according to the Congressional Budget Office, that means 420,000 kids are hungry at school because of the fact that they've cut people off of their access to food stamps.
Which is because
food stamps are incredibly
like
relevant. If you want to reform food stamps, go for it. But tell me what the specific reforms you would want on.
The reform is don't be out here having these goddamn kids if you can't afford them.
That's fucking so stupid. Don't be having kids if you can't afford them. Like, this man is not out there having unprotected sex. Like, he's never had fucking unprotected sex. Don't sit here and pretend, motherfucker. Just don't.
Trump only doing what the government does for itself. Look out for its own interests. He don't run nothing in this country. Let's be realistic. No president has ever ran this country the way that they wanted to run it. They don't do nothing for the people. Name one policy that they done for the people.
Bipartisan Infrastructure Bill, Chips and Science Act, PACT Act, Inflation Reduction Act, the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the Violence Against Women Act. Those are all things just the Biden administration did in their 4 years.
Just the Biden administration. Exactly.
And
because
also,
the Biden administration, if you didn't know, passed more bipartisan legislation in 4 years than the Obama administration did, than the Trump administration did. Biden was able to get numerous things passed, like Parker just said, the PACT Act, the Chips and Science Act, the Inflation Reduction Act. All of these things were helping us.
Literally have to work to a certain level in order to be able to get food stamps in the first place. Plus, regardless of whether or not the parents work, the children should be fed. Like, I think that should be blatantly obvious.
Damn straight.
Okay? I shouldn't have to.
It's okay to have kids. It's okay to just have kids.
Kids should be fed regardless.
Kids should be fed regardless.
Is that a crazy thing for me to say? Let's feed children. Let's ensure that children have food.
So you're not gonna put no responsibility on the parents to stop having kids as long as the government gonna pay for it.
No, that's not what he's saying. What he's saying is that regardless, children should not be held responsible. It's not their fault that they were brought into the world. You can say what you want to say about parents being responsible parents, but that is another fucking conversation. In the meantime, I agree with Parker. Regardless of the situation that the child is in, they should be fed. It's that simple. Like, come on here. What the hell?
The ones that are getting food stamps are the ones that are not doing things. I think the food stamps should go to the people. So it should be there for people to offset their income. If most of your money is going to bills, you should be able to. If people are not eligible, there's more people out here that work 9 to 5 that are crying they can't even eat compared to the people that's sitting at home on housing, food stamps, getting some type of benefits. Like, let's be realistic.
So do you agree everyone should have food?
Food should be free. I ain't gonna even lie, but who gonna pay people who
then
produce
fucking
food?
start voting
That
for
should be on the
Democrats.
government.
Yeah, we already subsidize that. So it's like the point that I would make.
Subsidize it with food stamps, but everybody don't qualify for food stamps.
No. We subsidize the producers directly, and also we ensure that people have access to food stamps as well. But you understand that, like, this is important. This is a fundamental need for Americans. If you do not provide this, you understand children will literally die, right?
Stop having it.
Stop having
say stop having
the
kids.
solution.
If you,
I just want to let you know
that
that's
is
not how
not
society
gonna happen.
functions.
That's not how the world works.
That's how society
Like,
functions.
you know that we actually need to, if anything, to have more children for our society to continue to have the same level of population? You know that, right? Like, but the way that we want to produce that isn't by forcing people into those conditions. The way we want to produce that is by creating conditions where people can take care of their kids, like universal access to healthcare, like expanding access to childcare, like ensuring that people have housing, ensuring that children are fed. Yeah, I want to protect and take care of our children. Why do you not want to? Why do you want to disenfranchise children?
That means you agree with the Republicans when they, speak against abortions.
No.
No, I don't think. I just explained how I don't want to force people to go through pregnancies, but I instead want to create the conditions where they're able to support those families, given that they want to.
You want to support people who can't support themselves, but just out here having kids.
No.
What?
No, and it's disingenuous that you would frame the fucking subject that way. You're sitting here saying that people are just out there having kids so that they can get free shit, which is not the case. That's not the reality. That's not how shit works. And again, like, you're not out there trying to get you some. Like, you're not out there trying to hook up with somebody. And if you have sex one day and you have a baby, you're going to sit here and say the same shit? No, you're not. You're going to be looking for any assistance that you can get. And the fact that those assistance programs are there are what allow young parents to start the journey of parenthood. It's how you get into better places.
That's dishonest to say that 30% of people, because they're not working, that means that they're like lazy, for example, because you're also categorizing children as a part of that. You're categorizing elderly people who are in Social Security. You're categorizing people, right, obviously, who aren't looking for work, right?
I know 30%. You asked a generalized question. I say I know.
Wouldn't a better measure for what you're looking for be unemployment rate, actually? If anything? But, like, unemployment rate isn't even it's not a measure right now that would indicate that.
Well, the unemployment rate, that there.
Like, I'm just really confused with your position.
A lot of jobs opened up. A lot of jobs should have opened up with the unemployment rate. So I'm not gonna lie there. A lot of jobs should have opened up thanks to Trump. Because I'm in the trucking industry.
No, they haven't. We've actually had the worst year of job growth in the past 4 years. So not only do you want to cut children off of food stamps. Wait, by the way, let me just clarify your priorities real quick. Your priorities are like cutting children off of food stamps and then giving tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires through Trump's big beautiful bill.
Who said tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires?
The big beautiful bill says that.
Who?
The big beautiful bill.
Y'all say the big beautiful bill said a lot of things. I haven't seen none of those.
That's because you haven't looked up any of those things. Because anytime somebody brings up the big beautiful bill, his one dumbass bill, and we tell you about all of the piece of shit things that are in it, you all just, oh, well, no tax on tips. No tax on tips.
Cut people off of core fundamental things they need. Add $3.4 trillion to the debt. And again, most of the tax breaks go to the rich.
Okay, so since it cuts, for children off of this and that, and it takes away from the impoverished and it gives cuts to the billionaires. So if they cutting food stamps and everything, these billionaires own these businesses. Don't they suffer too? Don't they lose out there?
No.
The billionaires?
Yeah.
No.
Are you really saying, what about the billionaires? Is that really the argument right now?
I'm not saying what about the billionaire. But if, okay,
you're trying to say, you're trying to ask, do the billionaires lose out too? And the answer to your question is no. The food stamp money, the Medicare money, the Medicaid money, all the shit that has been cut through Doge is going straight into those motherfuckers' pockets.
People in need, and then inevitably still does help out corporations. So what's not being understood here is that, and by the way, there are plenty of restrictions depending on local areas of where you can even get things in certain contexts, and sometimes it's even localized. But the point that I'm making is that, of course, these policies inevitably do trickle up to benefit the rich. That's how our society functions, right? That's how it works. They produce goods that typically people buy. That's what makes them rich in the very first place. But what needs to be said in those circumstances is that they pay back to society. Because when they pay back to society and ensure that there's a baseline, people are there to buy their products. It keeps society functioning. Whereas if you just give tax breaks to the very richest, they're just going to do whatever is profit maximizing for themselves.
Exactly.
Not what's better or best for society or providing these services for people in need. So we ensure people have services for people who are in need. Inevitably does still help out the very richest corporations. It creates jobs, right? And creates conditions where, again, people are going to be taken care of. And there's actual, genuine community there. Is it an issue that people are getting food? No, it's not an issue. I am genuinely, at the end of the day, that is the last thing I'm worried about when it comes to the overall governmental systems. Trump's thinking about spending $1.5 trillion a year on the military budget. What about all of the money going to all these defense contractors?
Exactly.
Why don't we ever talk about that? Why is it always people on food stamps? It is way more money that is going to these defense contractors, not even close to what we're sending to people in need for food stamps.
What about the money that they were sending overseas?
And this is the other thing, too, when it comes to when Republicans talk about fucking the economy or our debt, trillions of dollars in debt, and this and that and the other. They can't even wrap their heads around how much a trillion is, okay? Our budget is so ridiculous, okay? We have the ability to be able to give people free healthcare, free food. We could probably go so far as to give everybody free electricity, but you don't want to do that because you're pummeling money into the goddamn military budget. Now, if you ever took the time to realize that America, the money that we spend on our military is more than the next 10 nations combined and what they spend on their militaries, wrap your head around that. You start to begin to realize, Jesus, we could take a little bit of that money, put it elsewhere, and still be spending more combined than the next fucking 8 countries or whatever. We're so far ahead in that because of the fact that we've been putting that much money into it for fucking 50 years. It's time to start putting Americans first and putting that money towards programs like what we're talking about, and stop with this goddamn narrative of everybody's trying to take over or take advantage of the system. Well, if you think everybody's trying to take advantage of the system, then let's give more into that system so that more people can take advantage of that system, because all that is you getting your tax dollars back.
And if it violates your values, you shouldn't do it.
So
Plain and simple. I don't think that's complicated.
When your values come into your country being impoverished, then what?
Let's say that again.
When your values come to your country being impoverished, when we go to Venezuela, one of the highest oil reserves on the planet, when it comes to that, and your money is worthless, then what? Because that's the same thing that can happen in the U.S. overnight. You know that, right? If the BRICS nation comes into power, and you know what the BRICS nation is, don't laugh.
Yeah, I do.
You ain't being genuine with these people. If the BRICS nation comes into power and change the standard of money, it won't be the fiat no more. And you know that. We have the highest
I
gold
disagree with
reserve.
Gold standard is not preferable at all. If anything, I think it's worse. I think it's actually preferable for us to have the capacity to increase money supply, especially given that there's going to be productive capacity increases in our economy due to technology.
By the
and with
way, if you're
technology
listening to
rapidly
this and you don't know, Parker has a degree in economics. So, and that's when between him and Dean, I love both of them. But Parker having the degree that he has in economics, whenever it comes to his debates with MAGA Trump supporters, I do prefer to listen to Parker when it comes to the economic side of things because he is educated. He knows what he's talking about.
So if this institution becomes weaker, then what?
Well, people have trust in the money. That's just not going to happen. That people are going to just not have trust in the money. That's just not going to happen. It's not going to change. Like, everyone knows that there's value in money. The same way that, like, in the same way there's value for money, the same way there's value for gold. This is like being like, oh, what if people just, like, didn't value gold? If tomorrow, just, like, people didn't think it looked good? Okay. I don't think anyone's going to operate based upon, like, oh, maybe if this thing could be different, even though, like, all evidence indicates that it's effective. You know, we do things based on probability, not based upon the logical possibility of it going the other way.
Do you see America as a producer or a consumer?
Do I see America as a producer or a consumer? Both.
Yes.
Both, yeah, I don't generalize it
what
like
are
that.
we producing? Massively.
Well, I mean, I think that we do have manufacturing and industry. I mean, we hundreds of billions of dollars per month in manufacturing investment.
In what? That's what I'm asking.
Manufacturing investment, that's across the board. I don't have to explain all forms of manufacturing within this country in order to be able to refer to manufacturing.
Right.
I think that's an incredibly important statistic to reference if you're talking about productive capacity. We do have productive capacities, and we also, right, are a consumer base, very large consumer base.
Okay, we consume our own stuff that we produce. We don't really do foreign trade like that. Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do trade. We do a lot of trade.
We did it a lot more before Donald Trump. Because he gets in there with his tariffs and this whole
we send a trash
made in USA thing.
But we do not.
I think we do produce goods and we sell that across the street, especially agricultural goods. We produce and manufacture technology. The U.S. even does a lot of weapons, like you brought up with defense contractors. We do produce oil and we sell that across the world. Like right now, that's happening.
We sell entertainment
that's why
more
our
than
prices
anybody
are
in
going
the
up here
world.
in the U.S. is because U.S. producers of oil are choosing to sell their oil to other countries around the world to a greater extent because of the fact that prices have gone up around the world. I can give countless other examples. I think it's dishonest for you to say that we don't trade with other countries. It's so ridiculous.
Trump had to create that, though. You know that, right? Trump had to create where they could sell their prices of oil overseas, where a barrel was like $63. So he had to create that where he had blockades for oil container ships not to get through. He had to create that so the barrels could go up to $90, $125 or so. He had to create that, right?
I'm not following.
So that's how, you're not following me? So to sell your barrel at a high price overseas, you got to start a war where a country like Iran is shipping oil all over the place. You have to create a war and like destroy their pipeline, cause confusion, put up a blockade through their channels, so you can sell your oil as American refined companies overseas at a higher price. You can make money off this right now.
Oh, so you're saying blow up everybody else's ability to be able to sell oil so that we can sell oil.
They did this for a reason. And sometimes us as smaller American people who are not billionaires, millionaires, trillionaires, whatever the case, hey, we got to jump on board when we see it coming. You got to take that $1,000 and put it in oil refinery stocks or whatever.
Okay. So do you see what I mean? Like you're not, like, I understand that you're like, oh, use the circumstances and the current events to make money. Okay.
Bill yourself. Yes.
Yeah, I understand. That's not relevant to the points that we're talking about. This is still worse for the country. It's still worse for the country for Trump to go to war with Iran. It creates worse off conditions. Trump's been worse off in terms of the economy across the board. Practically every metric of the economy is worse off. Hell, every metric of the economy is worse off that I could reference. That's the top metric. Like, real GDP growth is worse off in 2025 as compared to 2024. Real median wage growth is worse off in 2025 as compared to 2024. We saw unemployment increase under the Trump administration, inflation's increased, gas prices have increased, real domestic manufacturing investments declined every single quarter of Trump's administration so far. So countless examples of the economy are worse off.
Are worse.
So I don't understand why you would say that Trump is
come in and you cut out everything that works.
It's a temporary thing. Everything gonna get worse, but at the end of the day, it's gonna get better.
When? When is it gonna get better? We've been listening to that bullshit since the very beginning. Since Doge came in, and they came in and they were, oh, we gotta cut this, we gotta cut this, we gotta cut this, wasteful spending, blah, 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 blah. And every single day we have to listen to these fucking Republicans say, well, it's gotta get worse before it gets better. It's gotta get worse before it gets better. Which, by the way, no. It did not have to get worse before it got better. It was already going in the correct direction. If Kamala Harris had been elected, right now we would not be at war. Everybody's gas prices would be at least $1 cheaper than what they are right now. Paying $5 a gallon so that I can drive this car, okay? That's ridiculous, and that is a direct result of Trump taking us to war.
Make them worse, and you're just saying it's a typical cycle, right? I know I'm referencing certain things that he's done to make it worse.
I don't believe it's worse though.
It is worse. Like I just gave you statistics to indicate that. If you want to dispute that, I mean, you can just choose not to believe the facts, but the facts are very clear.
Fucking flat earthers.
Every
MAGA, flat earthers.
Where we
same
had these
thing.
wars and things like that, the system played. It became the same thing. They were worse at that moment in time. If you go back through Bush, when he went to war, it was the same thing from where it was. You could say it wasn't, because guess what? The inflation really didn't hurt that much, because you went from $1.50 a gallon to maybe $2. It didn't seem that much to you, because guess what? The wage changed. But let's be
when did the wages
realistic
change?
here. It's all the same, no matter who's in charge. It is all the same.
It's actively not the same. Like, Harris disagrees with this war. That's very blatantly obvious. She follows the law to a greater extent. She wasn't on social media straight up representing herself as the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You know, like,
Trump be trolling y'all. Y'all fall for that.
Are you Christian?
No, I don't
No,
go
you're
by
not.
religion.
Okay.
man just said,
you say he's trolling. He also called for the execution of some Democrats.
You said he's trolling, but Republicans actually got really pissed off about that whole Jesus image that he fucking released of himself, and he tried to back fucking pedal that one by saying that he was meant to. I can't even remember what he had some dumbass excuse for it on Truth Social.
Right now, pushing for her people, for the best interest of Somali people in this country. You don't think she, like, yes, I believe the execution of some people, because guess what? They're backing their own people.
Wait, I'm talking about people. I'm talking about people who. Did you just say you call for the execution of people? What sick shit? What are you talking about?
What the fuck?
I'm saying people who just said that if you're given an unlawful order, don't follow it. And you're saying you call for the execution of them?
Okay, as a person to have common sense, you don't supposed to follow an unlawful order, right?
Wait, hold up. You understand that this is an unlawful order. They're given an unlawful order. These people are telling them not to follow an unlawful order if they're given that. That's what you're supposed to do according to the Constitution. That's what your oath to the Constitution tells you to do. And that's what they're going to do in that circumstance. Or that's what they said to do. And Trump called for their execution. And do you agree with Trump calling for the execution? And do you think that they should be executed?
As a sitting congressman or, senator, your first duty is to the American Constitution. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah, to the Constitution.
So if you're not following the Constitution, is that treason?
That's
no.
a good fucking question.
Not necessarily.
You're going against your country. You're going against your country.
I mean, then you're saying that Trump is a treasonous.
Exactly.
I mean, I guess I would even say that Trump is treasonous, actually. So I mean,
yeah, I would.
Yeah. So
if he went against anything.
So Trump is treasonous
Yeah,
because he's tried to undermine our Constitution. Trump has explicitly called for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution.
Right. And if he go to push for it, he's creating a treason right there. Yes.
And he has, you
He
jackass.
literally put that on social media. That's him trying to perpetuated to a greater extent.
Yes.
Put him on social media, but it's when you take a nap. Like,
So
he has signed
so
executive
if he's violated
orders.
the Constitution in any way, you wouldn't support him?
But then you started off this
Wait,
conversation.
so I have a question.
Parker's
If
setting
he
him up
violated the
now.
Constitution in any way, would you stop supporting him?
Set up.
He done violated in multiple ways.
Set up.
He
He
has?
done violated in multiple ways. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the January 6th insurrection, that was a violation right there.
So then, do you think that Trump should... Wait, based upon your
then
own
why do you
argument,
support
do
him?
you think under your own view that he should have been executed for that?
For the January 6th. But listen, if you take my words that I speak right
Tread
now,
carefully,
and
buddy.
you move based off of your own feelings and action, am I responsible for how you move?
To a certain degree, yes. If you have
no,
that amount
but
of
maybe
influence.
if you pardon me, then yeah.
Now I would agree with that because the pardon came later. But then you can't say what he did in the
You're
beginning.
dodging the question, buddy.
Because it was them. It wasn't him.
You're dodging the
Wait.
question.
You said under your own view. Do you think what Trump did was treason?
In the beginning, no. I'm
No?
not gonna speak anyway.
You don't think
I
what
can
Trump
speak
did on
anyway.
January 6th
I
is
believe the
treason?
pardon-
And there goes the
I believe the
contradictory
pardon was
backslide.
treason, because it showed that he
So Trump
he-
pardoning the violent rioters is treason, right?
yeah, I believe
So do you think
that
so
was-
under your own view, do you think he should have been executed for that?
he could have been. It depends on how you look at it. But y'all know they ain't gonna execute no sitting president.
It
You
depends on
already
how
know
you
that.
look at it. It depends on how you look at it. Good is a point of view, Anakin. Yeah. The Sith from the Jedi. Dude, Trump's a fucking bad guy. He was dog walking you right there. Based on your own fucking view, you're saying that anybody who violates the Constitution is technically speaking traitorous. Well, under those guidelines, Trump's a fucking traitor. Then based on January 6th, you start going backwards. Dude, that should have been enough. There are so many lines that this motherfucker has crossed that should have been enough for any American. For any American. January 6th was probably the biggest one. But, I mean, for God's sakes, the fact that you guys will sit here and try and find ways because of why? Because you don't want to lose the fucking argument. Because you don't want your party that you supported to be in power and be the ones that are wrong. You want to be the ones who look good. It's ridiculous. Stop acting this way and start acting in the interests of America, in the Constitution, the things that we have bled for, the things that our brothers, sisters, fathers, grandfathers, people fucking died for. Jesus Christ.
Well, America has turned against Donald Trump. America has turned against Donald Trump again in Virginia.
Oh, well,
Tonight,
it looks like that was
voters
the
in
end of the
Virginia
debate.
turned against-
Okay, so that was Parker Get a Job, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely check out his channel on YouTube. He's also on TikTok. I'll leave links in the description for the video that we just watched. Guys, again, it's fun listening to these debates, and you begin to get a different perspective, because the thing that you start to see is what the MAGA base is. All of them make the same fucking points. You can make a checklist, literally, and they'll go down it. And anytime you talk to a conservative in your life, if they go and they start going down the fucking checklist, if you hear them, up there's immigration, up there's Biden, up whataboutism, all of them are guilty of it. They argue like flat earthers. I would challenge any of you to go listen to any flat earth debate. Doesn't matter who it is. Find Professor Dave, find FTFE, find MC Toon, and listen to them debate flat earthers. And then after that, go and listen to Dean Withers and Parker Get a Job and listen to them debate MAGA. And you'll be able to fucking draw these comparisons between the MAGA base and the flat earthers. They're really no different with the way that they argue. They never have evidence. They come in with their feelings. They accuse Democrats of so much and then end up being the ones who are the fucking snowflakes themselves. It happens every single time I listen to these debates. So check them out. They're fun. They're definitely a great source of entertainment, if nothing else. But again, it's a good way, if you are not very political, to get educated and to start getting involved. Because the thing is we live in an America right now where politics is at the forefront of everything. I remember 20 years ago when politics, you didn't really have to interact with it as much because it didn't feel like as much was going on. 9/11 happens and it becomes a thing that's on your TV screen all the time. And then we go to war with Afghanistan and Iraq and things like that. But it still was something we knew about, but it didn't feel like we engaged in it as much. Today it's on your fucking TV screen, it's on your TikTok screen, it's on Facebook, it's everywhere. You can't turn this shit off or to a different channel because Trump is doing something every single day that is terrible for the American people. He's doing his tariffs, which are not good, by the way, you dumbasses. He's taking us to war, which I heard a funny TikTok the other day. It said, if I voted for Kamala Harris, I was going to get higher gas prices, I was going to get World War III, or new wars in general, that I was going to get higher grocery prices. And it's the only thing that the Trump people were right about. I voted for Kamala Harris, and I got all of those things. I got higher gas prices, I got higher grocery prices, and we're at war now. I mean, it's just so ridiculous. And it doesn't take much. Like, you guys could go back and actually read Project 2025. It was available. It was there. You could get a PDF downloaded to your phone and read it on your own time. And you can find everything in it that is like, Jesus Christ, they literally want to establish a fucking dictatorship. They want this to be an authoritarian nation. And so what do? They're, oh no, we don't want to do any of that. They lie to you. They hit you with propaganda, and you dumbasses fucking elect his ass because you're afraid of immigrants. And what are you afraid of with immigrants? What's the actual thing that you're afraid of? Well, they tell us that they're all blah, blah, blah. Well, have you ever interacted with anybody? Do you ever go outside? Do you go grocery shopping? Do you go to the gas station? Because I find that the thing that you dislike the most is that they just don't speak English. Like, for real. So, if that's your issue, then get the fuck over it. Seriously. These are the same people that are roofing your houses and mowing your grass and building your homes and putting electricity in for you. They do fucking everything. And they have the best food, too. And you guys just shit on them because they don't speak English. It's so ridiculous. Anyway, that's the end of this episode. Please feel free to leave a comment. Subscribe if you want to. That'd be awesome. Till next time, Corner Cutter away.